Alright, so we've kind of finished up like the super beginner stuff that you need for like basically figuring anything out. There's a lot more theory and stuff that they teach you in school, but you don't need a lot of it if you just want to like start doing something. So I'm going to show you how to make one of the most common applications there is out there, which is in like a REST API. This is essentially it's a service and it sits on a server and it someone calls it and it gives an answer and that's all it does. Um, first thing I did is I made a new project. I didn't include it in the video because it takes forever to index and get all set up, but um, essentially the process for creating one is easy. You just go for IntelliJ or any other IDE you're using, new project right here, call it what you want, test service. I've already created it here, obviously, but it'll tell you the directory it's in right there. Um, you can change location. You want to set your language. I'm going to use Kotlin, um, 'cause that's my favorite. You're going to leave all of this stuff the same. There's nothing really crazy you need to do here, and then click create. And that will create this package right here. Um, so yeah, essentially you can see you have some directories up here. Um, Gradle is it's a build system or a like package manager for Java. Package managers are really important to languages. All languages or most languages have a package manager, and that's how you basically get to use other people's code in your code. And this happens a lot. I mean, like 90% of the code you need is already written out there. You just need to grab it. And obviously, developers have created like great systems for using code from each other and sharing a lot of stuff. Um, so uh, the main directory we're going to be working with is this source main Kotlin main directory. This has our like main function. This is where our entire program is launched from. This is where all of our like code will live that actually does the logic of our service. Then the other important file is this build.gradle, which is our build script, which is telling Gradle, okay, this is how we want to build this application. Um, so yeah, the framework that I'm going to be using is called Spring. Spring Boot. It's an incredibly popular framework. It's really well designed. It's used at tons of companies, and this is like the base framework for um, REST APIs in Java. There's a lot of similar stuff out there. Um, this is the base one. So another way to do this is you can go to start.spring.io and you can just download a project with the Spring stuff already installed in it. But I'm just going to be doing it this way to make it to start from like a bare bones project. So first thing you're going to want to do is add these two plugins up here. Spring Boot Framework, Spring Boot Dependency Management. The versions will, of course, adjust over time, unfortunately, so you'll have to find whatever version is most local to you. We're also going to add a Kotlin plugin um, for Spring specifically. Um, the rest of this group stuff is for organizing like package structures, which we'll get into in a bit. Um, but yeah, then this is all like configurations for how your project is going to look with the version and packages and stuff. Repositories is like a where you want to get your packages from. You can set up your own repositories to host your own packages that you can pull from if you want, but Maven is the like big hub of all of the packages you need to start anything really. So for this dependency section, these are the actual other libraries that we want to rely on as a package. So we're going to add the Spring Boot starter data rest package, and we're going to add in the Spring Boot starter actuator package, and then we're going to hit this button for load Gradle changes in the top left. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. We're going to hit that. It's going to like build our project with a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to basically pull these dependencies down and say, okay, you can use all this stuff now, which is what we want. So yeah, that's just going to do that. Just to go over like some of the other stuff. Um, these are a bunch of Kotlin options. The only other main thing we'll use here is the application config, and this sets what our main class is for Gradle to actually run. IntelliJ makes it a lot easier because you just have like when this finishes indexing, you'll have this nice green button up here to run. But for command line running, this application sets which class we want to run. Okay. So this is almost done indexing. So now I'm going to go over to my main function, and we are going to do Spring Boot application. And this will essentially tell our application, like, this is a Spring Boot function and you should do all of the things associated with that. And because of the way this is set up, we actually need to do a class main. That will create a thing right there for us. And then this, in the main method, we're going to replace with run application. This is going to be main. Then we're going to do star args. We don't really have to worry about this right now, what all this crazy stuff means. It just essentially means this is where we start our Spring Boot application. So this is yelling at us already in default, Spring Boot application in default package. And this essentially means we don't have any packages defined here. It's just sitting out there in the root. So what we're going to do is create a package, which is essentially like Java's organizational structure. So we're going to do it com. And you can create these in IntelliJ like that, or you can do com dot tom dot test service. And this will essentially create these 4 folders, and then this is going to sit inside these 4 folders. And now you can see at the top of this class we have a package tom test service. So this is where like this is for if somebody else imports something into our package, it will show up as import com tom test service. You can obviously name this whatever you want, but there are some naming conventions. Think of it like kind of a backwards website of organization. So instead of the .com at the end, it's at the start, and then you like spread out from there. Yeah, so this is our Spring Boot application. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create another package called control. We'll do control like that. And these are going to, what's going to be in here is something called a controller. So we're just going to do basic controller. So now we see we have this new package, this new class, and we're going to do at rest controller. Yeah, and now we can create a function in here to map to our API endpoints. So essentially we're going to do fun, say hello, and this is going to return a string. It says hello. And I'm going to set the return type to string, and then we're going to add another annotation here for get mapping. See, IntelliJ is already helping me out with all the info, so we're just going to do slash. This will be our like base path here. So now if we go and run this main function, it should start up our Spring application. You can see tons of stuff here to help us out. Now if we open our terminal, we can test this application. You can also test it from your browser, but I'm not going to because of privacy. So we can do curl, which is basically saying get the info at a given URL. We're going to do http://localhost:8080. And that's essentially going to print out hello, although it's going to look quite dirty. Let's see if we can make this. All right. Yeah, it's going to print out all this ugly stuff, but essentially we get our hello at the end here. Curl just gives us a bunch of stats about how this works. So yeah, this is like the base Spring setup. Yeah, and this is like how a lot of like information is transferred around the internet through APIs, REST APIs that look like this.